show band.
Yeah, there you go.
I got some Jay Leno knowledge.
Okay,
so, yes.
okay.
Yes.
I see you. Did you ever meet any? Jay Leno doesn't. No, that was David Letterman. Did you ever meet Letterman?
Never met
No,
Letterman.
you never met Letterman.
No,
Okay.
no.
I'm surprised.
But shout out to Ball State University in Muncie, Indiana, where he went to college.
Is that where he's from?
Yes, that's where he went to
Ah.
college. Jay Leno went to Emerson College in Boston.
How do you know all this stuff?
I
you
got
know where
some
everybody
knowledge.
goes to college. You got
Some
like
knowledge.
trading cards.
High schools too.
Wow,
Yeah.
this is
yeah.
it's insane. Honestly, we should quiz you someday and just see, is there anyone in the planet that you don't know where they went to college? This is the one I don't think you're gonna get.
Okay.
AKA Froder.
Oh.
Froder.
Froder. I think I'm relatively familiar with this one.
It is the guy who plays the piano in the Peanuts.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Schroeder. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
they be getting down, man.
I like
the
that.
video of them dancing.
Yes.
You know, like they be getting down.
Yes.
The Peanuts gang, they're not afraid to cut loose.
Yes. Schroeder's he's got a lot of soul.
Oh
there
yeah,
at the
he
piano,
does got a lot of soul.
Yes.
It's about that time to pull out the old Charlie Brown Thanksgiving.
Yes, sure is.
For sure.
Sure is.
On Thanksgiving Eve today, AKA the Black Walter Cronkite.
Okay. All right.
You know Walter
Of course I know
Cronkite.
Walter Cronkite.
And
Yeah.
that's just the way it is, or whatever he used to say.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Something
One
like
of the legendary news anchors, maybe the
Yeah.
most legendary of all time.
Probably,
So, yes.
I would say so. Certainly of the early television era, no doubt. For
Yes.
sure.
Yeah. There was a president that said, Walter Cronkite said something. And he goes, "If I've lost Cronkite, I've lost America."
Wow.
So, I forgot what president that was, but Walter Cronkite, a lot of Arizona State. That's where he went to college. He did go to Arizona State.
I'm like, why do you know that?
There
though?
are journalism schools called the Cronkite School of Journalism. It's true. It's true. Look that one up. Yeah. So.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
that you know
It's kind of a
this
random party school for Walter Cronkite.
It
You'd
is,
expect
for sure.
Columbia or Harvard.
Yeah,
Arizona State.
Arizona
Yeah.
State.
Yeah.
Walter Cronkite.
Yeah.
He was on the ground doing some reporting.
Yes,
all right.
he was.
Yeah, getting a first look at everything.
Yes, he was. Yeah. So
for sure.
I love that. AKA
a million other things. Welcome back to the afternoon shift on Thanksgiving Eve.
On Thanksgiving Eve. What are your big plans for tomorrow, Max?
Getting together with the fam, no
Yeah.
doubt, at the old parents' house, digging into some food. The Vikings don't play, so I get to just chill, hang out. Don't have to come to the TV station. Don't have to go to the radio station.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna chill and watch football all freaking day. I'm not gonna move a single muscle. I'm not even gonna flex.
Yes.
But I'm nothing. Not moving a single muscle. What about you?
Yeah, I'll be home tomorrow morning, and like you, just gonna watch football all day. The first game of the day is right here on Fox 9.
Yeah.
The Packers going to the Lions. That's gonna be a great game at noon Central Time.
Super excited.
We're gonna be talking to somebody from our sister station in Fox Milwaukee later today, the sports director, who will be in the car going to Detroit.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Diligence on
Diligence.
the way. Not driving during the segment.
In the
though,
back
of
seat, I
course.
think.
In the
Yes.
back seat.
Yes.
Breaking down all things Packers, Lions, the Vikings, NFC North foes.
Yes.
Who are in a much better playoff positioning than the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, and we'll be getting into the Vikings later in today's show. There's a lot of J.J. McCarthy news today.
There is some
Will he
big
play?
news.
Will he not play? We know he's in concussion protocol. They're
Yeah.
not taking first team snaps, but it seems like Max Brosmer is going to play. And I will say this much: nobody's been ringing the Max Brosmer bell louder than Max Fuller.
There have been people ringing that bell louder, but I was an early
from
adopter.
preseason though.
It
It was preseason.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people I've heard whispers that Max Brosmer looked great in
Yeah.
preseason. Some people think that he's an underrated guy. His processing skills and his ability to throw. That people think he's an underrated guy, and maybe this is his chance to. There's been a lot of speculation. A lot of fans have been wanting to see him come in, and part of that is driven by substandard quarterback play from J.J. McCarthy, and part of that is driven by him being, a former Gophers quarterback.
Right.
And people just want to see a Gophers quarterback get a shot. So either way, even in a season that seems to be a wash at the moment right now, this is something that's super exciting that's got the fans, going with a little bit of energy here.
That's right.
Riding into Sunday against our former quarterback. It could be our new quarterback versus our former quarterback, Sam Darnold.
That's right. That's right. No Gophers quarterback has started a game in the NFL since 1987.
That's unbelievable.
1987.
And I think Max is only the second ever.
Yes. Yes.
Ever, which is just unbelievable. I mean, the Gophers have 3 national championships. You think somebody from
Right.
back then
Right.
would have did it way back then when they won those national championships. But Max Brosmer looking to make some history and possibly, incite an old Wally Pibb situation.
Yeah, potentially.
Maybe.
It could get
You
a little
never know.
weird.
You
It could
never
get a little
know.
weird with the Vikings.
You never know.
We've got all of that and much more on today's show, but first we want to promote our Instagram account, which if you're a new viewer to our program today, go give us a follow. Afternoon shift _Fox9. Lots of great content in there.
All types of great content on there.
Yep.
I believe we had some cooking videos on there yesterday. You had my debut at the Fox9 winter weather board yesterday, which was just an amazing experience. Everybody when they're a kid watches the news wants to be on the weather board, and especially learning from the master himself, Ian Leonard.
Yep.
So that was a lot of fun. It does do pretty good. I told you, Paul, more Max on the IG. You know what I'm saying? I think it's doing pretty well. We're up to 264, so I think we got one more follower than we got yesterday. But
perfect.
Hey, one more. It's one more. We're inching towards 300, but we're gonna get there
inch by inch. So it was 264 at the start of the show. We'll check it at the end of the show to see if there was any additions. Hopefully not any subtractions.
Hopefully not any subtractions. Hopefully not. But if there is a bunch, then maybe I'll have to hop on the bandwagon. I don't want to.
Yes.
I don't want to be off the trend. If that's the trend right now,
I gotta be trendy. Afternoon shift. You might have to. Well, you were at the weatherboard. This leads us into our first headline. It's a winter wonderland here in the land of 10,000 lakes. A lot of snow came overnight.
Yeah.
Lots of Duluth. Shout out to Duluth. You got 10 inches of snow. Camp Ridley, 9.5 inches. Hey. Brainerd, my favorite city in Minnesota, 7.3 inches. Winter, Wisconsin. What a name for a city. 6.5 inches in the Twin Cities. 3 inches. This is 3 inches. This is
3 inches is light work. We got it. We got it real easy here in the Twin Cities. But that first one is always magical, and it does kind of always feel like when you see those videos of like deer kind of learning how to walk, giraffes learning how to walk. Everybody's kind of like getting their shoe legs underneath them, or their snow legs underneath them, I should say, for that first one. Especially driving, it's a little bit can get a little bit dicey out there, but it's a little magical. That first one's a little magical, but this was just like a light sprinkle, nothing like what Duluth and some of those other cities got.
You really you like the snow. This is magical.
The first one is magical. I like the snow. I don't like the cold.
Okay.
See, I don't mind the snow because I'm just from the crib watching out the window. It does feel beautiful. Like I like the snow on Christmas.
Yeah.
Maybe not every single day.
Yeah.
Maybe not giant piles of it because I'm not a kid anymore. I'm not sledding down the hill or anything like that. But I don't like the cold. But the snow, snow every now and then can be a lot of fun. It just makes a beautiful scene.
Yeah, I've never sledded before.
You never what?
No, never done that. Never done skiing or snowboarding.
Tubing?
No, I've done tubing on a lake.
On a lake.
Yeah,
dude,
but
we gotta get you to Buck Hill.
To sled?
In Burnsville.
Yeah.
You can tube down a giant hill.
Oh.
They got skiing, they got snowboarding, but tubing, that's where it's at. Dog.
So it's like tubing on a lake except just on the snow.
Yeah.
It's essentially
the same
thing.
You just go down the hill. It's like sledding, except you're in a tube. Yeah.
Oh,
it's amazing. It's so much fun. I haven't gone in years, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Sledding. Yeah, we should take you sledding this winter. That should be a segment.
I've done ice skating, but it just hurts my ankles too much.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
I've only ice skated a couple times in my life, but I feel like I felt a little bit natural.
Yeah.
The first one it was a little awkward. I'm kind of flopping and flying around, but after that I felt a little natural.
Can you do the cool thing where you spray up the snow on a stop?
Oh, I need the wall to stop.
Okay.
Otherwise, I might just need to just take a seat on the old pants there to stop. Because otherwise, I'm not good at the stopping part. That's why I don't rollerblade. I'm not good at the stopping part.
Yes,
but I can get going. I can get going pretty good.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I gotta get back out there and participate in some more winter activities.
Yeah,
ice fish. And
it's around that time. We're gonna get you outside.
Ice fishing is just drinking, right? That's all it is.
It is basically. I mean, even ice fishermen will tell you that it's mostly just drinking, watching TV or listening to radio with your boys. And people don't even do it like the hardcore way anymore.
Right.
They got the HUDs. They got some heat.
It's bougie.
It's a little bougie now.
Yes.
It's a little bougie now, but it's tough out there. I don't blame them. I've never gone ice fishing. I'd love to go this winter. If anybody out there in the audience, has got some ice fishing set up, I'll go. Let's film some content.
I'd be down to go too.
Yeah.
I'd be down to go.
I would go.
Yes.
I would absolutely go. I'll go ice fishing. You don't think I would?
Great.
Not a chance. Not Adam. I'm sorry, Adam.
You don't think I'll go?
I don't. I can't see.
Why?
I can't see myself ice fishing. I can't see any of us ice fishing on the
I
afternoon
prefer to be
shift
on my
group.
couch.
Yeah,
but
100%.
Yes,
We'll take you sledding. Maybe not ice fishing.
Sledding
but
though, for sure. We got to get you out there.
100%.
Yeah.
Or tubing.
Yeah.
We got to. Have you ever built a snowman?
I've built a snowman
do
before.
snow angels.
Yeah, it's not magical to me though.
It's not magical.
No.
You didn't like ever just when you lived in New York or Chicago see the snow and just go, wow. Mother Nature.
No, I moved from Chicago in October. I only lived there for. It got a little cold for me. It got a little cold for me. But they're soft in New York. It gets below 30 degrees and people freak out. They freak out. No, for real, they do. They freak out and it's too. Nobody goes outside.
People are still wearing T-shirts.
I know. I know.
T-shirts and shorts. You'll see them even in a blizzard out here.
I know. It's crazy. It's crazy. Well, shout out to Minnesota. And one of Minnesota's very own is celebrating a posthumous birthday today. You brought up Schroeder earlier.
Sure.
Charles Schulz, the creator of Peanuts, born on this date in Minneapolis 103 years ago. Charles Schulz, this is like you talk about the Minnesota Hall of Fame in terms of names. He's top 10. He's
absolutely up there, and obviously we pay homage to him. I love there's statues of Snoopy all over the city of St. Paul. We used to have Camp Snoopy and whatnot. He's honored all over the state of Minnesota because you can't tell the history of the world without the Peanuts.
That's right.
It's legendary. They're instrumental even decades later to so many of our holidays because of these holiday specials. The Thanksgiving, Halloween, and even I mean, there's all types of. I think there's a Columbus Day one back in the day. You know, Christmas and all types of stuff. There's a wah 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 wah. There's certain things that it's just part of the cultural zeitgeist, evolving from a cartoon strip, an influential cartoon strip, all the way to animated movies, and who knows where it'll go from here. And especially these day and age, I wouldn't be surprised if they create some type of Peanuts, big screen experience. But it's part of the cultural zeitgeist here in America, and it all started right here in Minnesota. So shout out to Charles M. Schulz.
That's right. He passed away in 2000 at the age of 77. Did grow up in St. Paul. Went to St. Paul Central High School. This is one of the more prominent alumni lists of any high school in America. So let's go through St. Paul Central. Obviously, Charles Schulz, Mayor Melvin Carter went to St. Paul Central. Dave Frischberg, the author of the song "I'm Just a Bill." St. Paul Central High School. Amelia Earhart went to St. Paul. She left.
Really?
She left after sophomore year and went to Chicago, but she went for a couple years.
I had no idea.
And Jade Kareem, the co-founder of YouTube, St. Paul Central grad.
That's a pretty big damn deal.
It's a big. That's heavy hitters right there. Heavy hitters.
I had no idea about Amelia Earhart or the co-founder of YouTube. That's incredible. We got to rep them a little bit.
I know. I want a T-shirt. St. Paul Central. It's a pretty awesome high school.
Yeah, seriously.
I get Cretin Durham is still number one on my list in St. Paul, but St. Paul Central number two.
Okay.
Nicole Middendorf is number one for us. She's our financial analyst at the afternoon shift.
Oh yeah, she's breaking down all things dollars for us all the time, and we talked to her about the holiday spending. It's a big time for consumerism here in America, and we're all a part of it. Whether it's Black Friday, Christmas shopping, budgeting. A lot of people are having some tough times with the wallet right now, so we talked to her about all of those things and more.
She'll be coming up right after this. Don't go anywhere. afternoon shift. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving, and the day after that, Black Friday, the #1 shopping day of the calendar year.
Yeah, billions and billions of dollars will exchange hands on Black Friday, and of course, Christmas is right around the corner too. So we all are wondering, how to take the dollar the longest that we can, and which ways we can save a little bit here and there.
That's right. Nicole Middendorf, she's the CEO of Prosperwell Financial. She's got all the answers, and Max and I had the real pleasure of talking to her at an earlier date, and we're going to play back this clip now of that conversation. The CEO of Prosperwell Financial, Nicole, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Listen, we're looking ahead. Black Friday, it's at the end of this week. What are some sort of do's and don'ts around Black Friday shopping? I think it's the #1 shopping day of the entire calendar year, yeah?
It is. I mean, just don't get sucked in from emotion, because I feel like it's not just Black Friday anymore. All of these online stores and even locations have Black Friday signs out. And so it always comes down to, what do you have available for you to spend, let alone what do you truly need versus what do you want? And what happens very easily is, particularly you go online, Amazon, and it's like, oh, you've recently looked at this. Oh, you've recently looked at this. And all of a sudden, and if you keep putting these things into your cart and then you check out and then you go about your work day and then you get home and you look at Amazon again and then you check out again, then you get your credit card at the end of the month. You're like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? So it doesn't mean don't take advantage of these sales, but put everything in there. And that's why they do the time, they're like, oh, you've got this available for the next, because I just bought some gift cards that were $10 off. But you're not buying them to not use them. I buy them and I give them to employees. And so do things when you're saving yourself some money. Don't do something just to do something.
And now, some of these things, it's like they're getting marked up. They're not actually on sale, and it kind of feels like a scam. What are some things that tend to actually be on sale around Black Friday?
Right. I mean, that's where you really need to be careful. That's where I do love shopping more in the stores during the holiday season, because you go and you're like, I stopped in quick over the weekend. I'm like, I bought a few things. I'm like, this truly is on sale. Yeah. Versus on Amazon, I was like, I think I've paid less for this before than actually they're offering for it now. They do have that new little compare button, but still, you can easily, like you said, get scammed into things. And it all comes back to, what do you want and what do you need? And be a smart shopper. And again, don't get caught up in the emotion. That's why they put these times on there, so that you're like, oh my gosh, I've got to buy this. I've got to buy this. Stop and pause, because it's not going to be the end of the world if you don't buy whatever it is. You can always probably find that next item that your daughter has to have, or she'll survive without. You can find it somewhere else on sale.
Yeah, and speaking of that, how do you sort of manage Santa's wish list with your kids? How do you manage that? Because sometimes I don't have any kids, but when I was a kid, I asked for a lot of the times the world, and I never got the world. So how do you manage that as a parent?
It's talking to your kids about money. And what's hard is, a lot of us feel intimidated about money ourselves and don't feel like we know a lot. And so we're scared or hesitant to talk to our kids about money. And what's great now is, when we grew up, we just wrote everything down or pulled out a catalog. Now my kids send me their wish list from Amazon. But it's like, did you see the total? If I do buy all of these things, and you're having the conversation with those kids, and it was very funny when we were building this house. My daughter's like, I have to have this. I have to have this. And it was a sweatshirt. I'm like, would you rather have that sweatshirt or would you rather have a toilet? And so it's all about helping position things with what is a want versus a need, and setting a budget for yourself with what makes sense and working with that budget. Your kid is always going to have this list of 20 things that they have to have, but what do your kids really want? They want time with you. And they want experiences. I have my own foundation, and we just selected our 2 women that are recipients for next year. And so the one woman, that's her, I'm like, we're going shopping for you. So we need ideas for your 6 and your 10-year-old girl. And she's like, I just want to give them experiences. So that time at the Mall of America, that you get the coupons to go on the rides, that's what kids want. Those toys and all of those items and those things. And so I'm a huge advocate of parents and grandparents putting money into a 529 plan, saving for your kids for college versus buying them all of this stuff that just fills the cabinet that they won't ever play with again.
I'm so bad at that.
It's so hard.
Everything on the list every year, and it just keeps getting
I know. And when you have daughters, what do they want? Shopping sprees.
Yes.
So do it. Like, take them
all
to
that,
the Mall of America.
Oh, yeah.
But you give them a budget. So my daughter was 6, and the first I take my kids on one-on-one trips. She was 6. And the rule is I pay for the flight, I pay for the hotel, pay for your food and the experiences, but don't ask me for anything.
Yeah.
So it's the American Girl doll store in Chicago, right? So she saved her own money. She had $600.
Hey.
She filled the cart full of all the stuff. I mean, it literally was like $3,000 worth of American Girl doll stuff. So she had to go through and figure out what she really, truly wanted. That experience is priceless and teaches your kids about money and teaches yourself about money, and then you're staying within your budget.
For sure.
Yeah. No, yeah, I know it could definitely be tough around this time of year. You know, I think another thing that could be tough. A lot of people, they get into these family and friends situations, and you know, some money kind of gets a little tight, and then people start asking for money. How do you deal with that? Because money can get a little funny sometimes, and you know, it can be hard to kind of deal with, especially with people that you love and really respect and like. Yeah.
Right. And that's where, like, I've had people over the years, you know, that have gone. Everyone goes through stuff. That's life, right? And so it's having that conversation, stating, "Hey, I'm getting you something, but I'm not expecting anything in return because you just got laid off, or something's happening with your kid, or a medical issue, or you just moved, or whatever it is." It's setting that expectation. It's also realizing there are some people that are gift givers and there are some people that are not gift givers. And so don't become friends with someone just because they're a gift giver, but don't expect those gifts. And again, what do people want? They want time with you. They would that's where it always comes down to, we have all these conversations about how do you budget and how do you not overspend through the holidays, because the average person takes them until May to pay off the credit card from the holidays. Wow. May. Wow. But what is the holiday really about? It's not about the presents. It's about spending time with your family and your friends. And so have that Friendsgiving, have that party, have that get together. And, you know, you can even say no gifts this year. A lot of us have had a tough time, whatever it may be, or you're spending something within your budget.
Yeah.
You could have just said no, bro. It's $20, dog. I mean, you could have just said no. You didn't have to disguise it as a question. You could have just said you didn't have that 20, bro. It's all good.
You know what my dad used to say? My dad used to say, "Your presence is
a
present
present.
enough."
Yes.
And I think that's a good.
I use
lesson.
that when people ask me where their present is. I say my present.
Yes.
is a big present.
Yes.
Speaking of those presents, Nicole, say it's post Black Friday. When is the best time to go Christmas shopping?
The best time is to buy things throughout the year and be a planner, which is hard for some people, but to buy things when they're on sale. Like I have a friend that's huge into pickleball. And so like now, you know, because now is the time of year where I'm like, oh my gosh, like what do I have for people and what do I still need to buy? And I'm like, oh man, I bought this cute little pickleball bag and this hat that was on sale when I was somewhere traveling. So buy things when they're on sale throughout the year, because again, that's what gifts are all about. It's not buying something to buy something for someone. It's buying something because you appreciate them, or because you're being very thoughtful, or it's that experience that you're getting them.
Yeah. We'll have to do maybe a gift swap here on the afternoon show.
Do a Friendsgiving.
A Friendsgiving,
Let's do it.
We'd stay, even with these Friendsgivings, you could say like, hey, like $30 is the maximum gift, you know, and like and that way everybody is kind of within the same time frame and whatever. It keeps everybody all good to go.
Yep.
So.
Or just do the elephant gift, or do it's a re-gift party.
Oh.
So you wrap something that you've been given that you really didn't want. Someone may else want it. You never know.
You ever re-gifted something before?
Sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm trying to think if I have.
Back in the day.
Everyone does.
For sure.
Everyone does.
You know, you have a little, you know, stuffed animal you give a girl. You guys break up, and then it's like, I bought this for you, shorty. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I think I bought something with the intent of giving it to somebody, and then it just didn't work out to give it to them, and then you hold on to it, and then now I want to give it maybe to somebody else.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Or something maybe that you don't don't want around. Maybe it's something
Yes.
that your ex gave to you, and you want to,
Yes.
like, I don't want this, but somebody else should use it. You know,
Yes.
I've definitely done that before, too.
No,
I can't wait to see the gifts you give each other.
we will. We'll bring you back and let you know. You know what? One last thing. I think another thing that's great about the holidays. A lot of people donate a lot of things and whatever. You know, I always get asked whenever I donate something. They're like, "Do you want a write-off slip?" How do those work? Because they kind of go into taxes with that too, right?
They do, yeah. And I was just at a meeting this morning about the big, beautiful bill and how deductions and things are changing with that. So that's where, like, it's still standard, like, don't do cash. You know, you want to keep track and you need to have a receipt and you need to donate something to a nonprofit or to a registered foundation or a real legitimate organization. And so generally those organizations will give you that receipt. Like Fashion Fest, it's Friday night, right? So if you're buying something at the live auction, a portion of that is deductible. They're going to give you a receipt and then you can put that in your taxes. But again, that stuff is going to be changing.
Yeah.
So
No.
Well, I'm sure you'll stay on top of it, Nicole, because you're our resident financial advisor.
Perfect.
You kind of have to stay on top of it, or we're not inviting you back.
okay, I'll do my job.
Kidding. Thank you, Nicole. We appreciate you.
Yes, thank you. Happy holidays.
That was Nicole Middendorf with some Black Friday and other tips and tricks around the holiday spending time.
My wallet feels healthier already. It's just weighing down my pockets right now because Nicole saved us so much money.
That's right. You know where you can go spend a ton of money in the
that?
Twin Cities? 50th in France in Edina.
I bet you can.
It's a big shopping district there. The city of Edina, they're really trying to make the pedestrian walkways there a lot more easy and accessible. It's just a very busy district. They're proposing this pedestrian-only tunnel. $20 million proposed budget. We have somebody from the city of Edina's planning committee joining us next to talk more about it.
Interesting. I'm always down for making cities more walkable, so I'm excited to hear more.
That's right. Bill Neuendorf with the city of Edina coming up next. Don't go anywhere. Back to the afternoon shift. Max, when I think of the Twin Cities, one of the first things I think of is 50th in France.
That is not surprising. One single bit. Edina has no bigger champion And then Adam Llorens.
State football champions, by the way. Yes.
Whoa.
We got to talk. We got to pack that one out a little bit more.
For sure.
And their lead guy, he's going to play hockey at Michigan State. Didn't even get a look by the Gophers. What's up with that?
Two sport athletes.
They're all over Edina. Edina, they are planning out a pedestrian and cyclist only walkway, a pedestrian only thing to help people navigate the very busy France Avenue. The proposed budget is around $20 million. Here to tell us more is the City of Edina's Economic Development Manager, Mr. Bill Neuendorf. Bill, welcome to the afternoon shift. How are you?
Great. Adam and Max, you look unusually warm this afternoon.
I was going to say, Bill, how are you holding up out there in the cold?
Hey, it's a beautiful Minnesota day.
Absolutely. Well said. It's a great live shot that you got going on there. You got a busy road behind you. I assume that's France Avenue. Can you tell us more about this proposal from the City of Edina?
Sure, happy to. Yes, I'm standing in the 7200 France Avenue, so about half a mile south of Southdale Center Mall and the Galleria, and a bit further south of 50th and France. But right near this location, we're looking into constructing a pedestrian improvement that unifies the neighborhoods on both sides of France Avenue. As you probably know, France Avenue is a very busy street. It's between 6 and 9 lanes wide at this location, a lot of turn lanes and through lanes, and it's a busy road. It's a county road that flows about 27,000 cars a day. It also divides two of our most densely populated neighborhoods in Edina. And, while about 75% of Edina is single-family residential neighborhoods, this area right around Southdale is our most dense area with apartments, single families, duplexes, condos, etc. And so we're looking into a possibility of unifying and connecting across France Avenue to improve the quality of life.
What has been the community reaction so far to this since the proposal was made?
Yeah, it's really been interesting. We held a community meeting last year at some point, and I was very surprised in that the vast majority of people at that meeting asked us why this hadn't been built before. How fast can we build it? It's a big, ambitious project. The city last looked into something like this back in 2007, 2008. And that time, the decision was made not to move forward and to do something more basic at the time, build sidewalks and crosswalks. This area, when it was first built, was designed strictly for automobiles. So even 10, 15 years ago, there weren't sidewalks to walk up and down the street. There weren't crosswalks for pedestrians to cross the street. So that 2007 study ended up just doing the basics. But we're at a unique point in time where behind me you see one of the projects that's under construction. But both of these properties are going to be redeveloped either actively or in the very near future. And it creates a new opportunity for some public improvements. So initially, that first big meeting, we had residents from the surrounding neighborhoods, particularly the families with younger children. We're super excited for an improvement. Some of our older residents were also excited. But of course, there's always people that are concerned. And I think right now, the biggest controversy is the price. So we're still very early in the study, but our initial estimate started at a $12 million cost, and then we inflated that because we didn't know if we were going to build it in 2024 or 2034, what that might look like. So right now, our cost estimate is about $20 million for this whole project, including rebuilding the road, pedestrian bridges, and underpass, handicap accessible ramps to get to and from, as well as all the landscaping that you need to make all this a very welcoming place.
Now, Bill, with this tunnel, you were talking about apartment buildings going up in there. Do you think that the Edina could really attract maybe a younger demographic of people moving there? There are a lot of young people that work in the suburbs, and there's really no suburban kind of epicenter for young people to be at. I see potential there on France Avenue. Do you think the city of Edina sees it the same way?
We'll let the market decide who actually rents the apartment, but we're seeing a lot of success in our apartments that have been built more recently. Of course, we've had apartments in Edina for, 50, 60 years. It's not a new thing. But in some of our newer developments, we're seeing a much broader age range of people whether they're younger folks getting started, younger couples, empty nesters, retired folks, and everyone in between. So over the last 10 years or so, we've developed thousands of new apartment buildings, and certainly there's the age demographic skews younger in there than some of our older residential neighborhoods.
Bill, to go back to the $20 million price tag that you talked about just a second ago, I'm sure lots of people are curious, where would that funding come from?
Yeah, good question. So right now, we are looking at these two adjacent properties. So both of these properties were formerly, they're old buildings. Across the street from me, those buildings were built in the late 60s. One of them had actually been condemned and blighted. It was shut down. It was unsafe. So these new projects behind me, and then also on the parking lot where I'm standing today, when these new projects are built, they will create a huge new source of tax revenue, property tax revenue. So primarily we're looking at the future property taxes from these two sites. Of course, we'll also look into all the various federal, state, regional, county programs that fund pedestrian improvements and roadway improvements overall. But we're really focusing at these unique sources of funding. There's no desire, and I don't think any will, to add it onto the regular tax levy burden. I think there's enough other operational expenses in Edina. We don't want to add on to that.
Bill, you said most of the residents seem like they're asking why hasn't this been built before? I'll ask you. Do you think that the tunnel is worth it for the city?
I think it is. It's a generational change. When this area was built, the first time it settled, it was a poultry farm, it was a giant gravel and sand pit, and it was the town dump. So as these two properties around us change, it's really looking forward to change for the next generation, for the next 20, 40, 60, 80 years. And you only get this type of opportunity once. So it's a big price tag. There's still a lot of study to go. But that is essentially the question. But I definitely think it's worth exploring and seeing if we can find a way to make this happen for the community.
Bill, I know it's super early in the planning process, but say you started digging ground today. How long are you guys anticipating something like this is going to take?
At a high level, it's just a road project. So on the northern side of town, we rebuilt an even larger bridge project over the highway. We've got that substantially complete in one summer. I think we'd probably do the same thing here. Is one summer of work. We're a long ways away from looking into that. Maybe we break it off and do half one year, half the next year. But it's from the engineering perspective, it's not that big. I think.
Bill, if you're not careful, you may have two new residents for the city of Edina here. So, no. Well,
I always have room for you guys.
Perfect. We appreciate you. We appreciate the city of Edina. Bill Neuendorf, Edina's Economic Development Manager. We appreciate it, Bill. Thanks so much.
Adam Max, my pleasure.
Thanks. You, I'd move to 50th.
I think I would devalue the property just by being there. I don't think anybody wants me in Edina. I think I'd bring the property value down.
No,
maybe the whole city.
No,
I don't think anybody wants.
You might be the biggest non-sports celebrity in Edina. There's a lot of athletes that live there.
I'm no celebrity.
You could be the guy.
I'm certainly not any celebrity, and I don't think the good residents of Edina. I got a good feeling that if I try to get an apartment out there, a house out there, they'd be like, why don't you look somewhere else?
You think I can hang in Edina?
I think you could.
I
think you could.
I like Edina.
It's good. Yeah, it's great.
It's fun. It's great restaurants at 50th and France too. Great place to take mom and dad when they come to town.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yes. Tim Van Voren, he is the sports director at Fox 6 Milwaukee. We've just been talking to Fox 6. This is our sister station, everybody. We share a GM with Fox 6 Milwaukee.
Yeah, we had our friend Brandon Cruz on again last week. He was great breaking down the Vikings-Packers matchup.
Yep.
Unfortunately, the Packers won that one. They're moving on, facing off against the Detroit Lions tomorrow with some heavy playoff implications.
Yes, some Thanksgiving Day football previews right here on Fox 9 with the from a Packers perspective coming up next. Don't go anywhere. afternoon shift, Thanksgiving football. It's a tradition unlike any other.
Absolutely. I'm thankful for 3 fantastic matchups tomorrow, and I'm thankful the Vikings can't ruin my day because they don't play.
Yes. I'm thankful that the first of those 3 matchups is right here on Fox 9. It's going to be the Packers at the Lions, 2 Vikings rivals squaring off in the Motor City. We're very excited about this, and we're going to be talking right now from a Packers perspective to the Fox 6 Milwaukee sports director, Mr. Tim Van Voren. Tim, welcome to the afternoon shift. How are you?
Hey, guys. Rolling through Michigan on the way to Ford Field for tomorrow's game.
Awesome, Tim. We got you barely there. Let's
Yeah, it looks like the big Michigan doesn't want us communicating with you, Tim.
I hope they haven't put up a force field, guys. I want to talk to you.
Yes. We got you. Let's roll with it right now, Tim. The Packers, they put on a defensive clinic against the Vikings this past Sunday. They only allowed 6 points. The Packers have allowed 13 or less points in 3 of their last 4 games. What's it going to take to slow down this very high-powered Lions offense?
Well, Lions offense is a lot better than that Vikings offense. You guys would probably be aware of at least part of that comparison. Detroit's really good. Detroit's fired up. Detroit's inside Ford Field. They're getting their offensive lineman, Frank Ragnow, back, not for tomorrow's game, but he's coming back, so all kinds of momentum going for Detroit. Packers are walking in here. They know it's the proverbial hostile environment, but they do have a good defense, and if they can get that defense to control the Lions a little bit, that's going to give them a shot in this game. Of course, week 1 of this season, the Packers beat the Lions at Green Bay. They really held down Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm not sure anyone's held down Jahmyr Gibbs since. So we'll see what happens on the holiday. Big game in the playoff picture for both of these teams.
You mentioned that week 1 matchup, and kind of coming out of that, the Packers looked like world beaters. Jordan Love was a very, 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 very extremely early in the MVP race, but not so much over the last 4 weeks. His production has kind of waned a little bit there. What's been going on with Jordan Love in the offense?
Very inconsistent, to the point that head coach Matt LaFleur is kind of on the hot seat a little bit because he's an offensive coordinator, an offensive background head coach. Green Bay has scored, I think, scored 30 points combined in their losses to the Eagles and the Panthers and the Browns and guys that, other than the Eagles, that's not a murderer's row by any means. So very inconsistent offensively for the Green Bay side of things. Love's actually been pretty good. He didn't play real well against the Eagles, but otherwise he's been pretty good this season. But the Packers feel they still are a good football team. I was just asking some of the guys in the locker room yesterday, you guys had so much swagger back when you beat Detroit in week 1, or you beat the Commanders coming right off that in the 4-day later Thursday night game. And they said, hey, we still got swagger. We still got swagger. So I'm not sure if it's a talk or reality, but they're going to try to bring that at Ford Field tomorrow.
Tim, you talk about Green Bay swagger. What was the mood like in the Packers locker room after that Vikings win? They did the coordinated, skull chant that kind of went viral on the internet. What's the swagger all about with the Pack these days?
They were proud of that skull chant, guys. They were kind of digging it. It was almost not complete spur of the moment, but they kind of thought it up during the week. They didn't know how it would go, and then the crowd responding, I think, is what they liked the best about it. It was a pretty choreographed effort. Really just kind of organically there. So they felt very good about the win over the Vikings, mostly in that they didn't have to expend a ton of energy. They've had a lot of grinder games this year, right down to the wire. They didn't have to do that against the Vikings. It was perfect timing for that, having to play on the road on Thursday. So they took their foot off the gas a little bit, got themselves in a mental spot. They were feeling good after the game Sunday. They were feeling good in the locker room yesterday. We'll see if they can feel good coming out of the locker room tomorrow. We will have one of those post-game news specials afterwards, guys. I'm standing there between the locker room and the bus. Hey, when they win, those shows are fun. When they do not win, not quite as much fun.
Yeah, not an enviable position, certainly, when they lose, Tim. And I, as a Vikings fan, it made me sick to see that skull chant, but I gotta admit, it was good form. It was good form by the good people of Green Bay and the Packers there. Now, we've been talking about the Packers defense. They've been keeping the Pack afloat. They're one of the best defenses. They're like top 5 and top 10, top 5 in almost every single conceivable category. And obviously, Micah Parsons is a leader on this defense. He's the one that gets all the headlines. Everybody knows him. He's the guy. He's the guy that you read about first. But who's like the non-Parsons key to this game against the Lions?
Well, kind of a nice question there. Xavier McKinney's a real good safety. He was all pro last year, a ton of interceptions last year. He hasn't had that kind of interception season this year, so he may not get the same national recognition, but he's a very solid player. Hasn't missed a snap defensively all year for the Packers, so he's one of the key guys for sure. And they get some pretty good production at their linebacker spot as well, out of guys like Edgerrin Cooper and even Isaiah McDuffie. These guys make a lot of tackles. They're real good fits in the system of defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley, who's probably going to be a head coach somewhere next year. So the Packers kind of know they got a 6-week run here, a final stretch run. They have a chance to put it all together and win tomorrow, and they get up high there in the playoff picture. You lose to the Lions, you're going to be battling uphill. So it's an interesting dash to the finish here with the finale against the Vikings at the very end of the regular season.
You talk about the dash to the finish there, Tim. The Packers are in second place. The Bears are in first place, but the Packers have not played the Bears yet. And after this week, you're going to get to play the Bears 2 of the next 3 weeks. Those 2 games very likely could decide the division. What's your confidence level in the Packers catching the Bears at this point?
Yeah, I still don't know whether to really believe in the Bears or not, guys. You're leading the division with a negative point differential. In other words, you have given up more points than you've scored, even though you're 8-3. Credit Chicago for getting all that done, in my opinion, but their schedule gets a little tougher here. A couple of decent opponents at the end. We'll see if they can hang on to that. So, the Packers, this is a real tester game on Thanksgiving against the Lions. If it goes the wrong way, they still do have chances, particularly with those 2 face-to-face games against the Bears coming up 2 out of the next 3 weeks after that. So rivalry football down the stretch, a fair amount of this stuff will be outside football, not tomorrow, but, you get some games, Chicago, Green Bay, that sort of thing. So bring it on with the time of year that matters.
Kind of off the back of that question, there's been so much parity in the NFL this year. I mean, pretty much no team looks infallible. The Eagles have looked shaky, to say the least, over the last couple of weeks. The Rams look great, but you never know. They got an aging quarterback, and you just never know when it comes to playoff time. How do you feel if the Packers can get to the dance? How do you feel about their chances against the upper echelon of the NFC?
I don't think they're the elite team of the league right now, but if you're in that tournament, as you guys said, it's pretty wide open this year. And if the Packers were able to get home field for a game or 2 at Lambeau, that's a thing. That's a factor for them, a positive for them. So it's a matter of getting in. I agree with you. This year in the NFL, I don't really see too many teams capable of winning 3-4 total control them type games right now. The Rams look great, but that can change. It's a matter of getting in there, what the position is going to be in terms of who gets those home field games, and then maybe getting hot. The Packers have had great quarterbacking. You guys know it. Viking fans know it. But let's be honest, they've only won 1 Super Bowl since the late 90s. And in that year, they were the last team into the NFL playoffs, last team into the NFC field. They had to win all their games on the road. They got hot at the right time, and they won the championship. So all these scripts about regular season football are great, but sometimes that's not really what decides the ultimate prize.
And Max is always the first one to remind Packers fans that they haven't won really in the last 25 years.
I let it speak for itself.
Opening the record books, Max. Nothing wrong with that.
Tim, what do you think it means for the Packers to play on Thanksgiving? This is a huge game. It's going to be a very high-rated game on Fox. It's not the Super Bowl and it's not the playoffs, but it's kind of the next tier down in regard. It's probably the biggest regular season game of the year for teams. How does the team? Do you think there's a certain extra level of energy going into this one?
I do. I think it kicks off the stretch that we've all been talking about here. It's a Thanksgiving game. They've done this before. They've played this early game in Detroit many times. It's an easy trip across here. They'll be home for their Thanksgiving dinner by 6:30 on Thursday night. So there are no excuses about woe is us or anything like that. This is what you want to be a part of in the NFL. Hey, even for us and for you guys, for Fox 9, this is a big game. It lays out for everybody. They're eating either, right at kickoff or afterwards. The TV's on, families around, probably kind of cold and snowy outside. Come on, this is good stuff. So we're ready for it. I think the Packers are pretty fired up to be a part of it too.
Awesome.
And they're going to face a super formidable Detroit Lions team. Obviously, offensively, they look unstoppable. They're like in top 5 in every single category. They're amazing. What do you think is the weakness of this Lions team that the Packers can take advantage of?
Well, defensively, they haven't been as solid as they'd like to be. They're still missing Kirby Joseph. He's a real good player at safety. He's going to be out again for the game on Thursday. So, I don't think Detroit has a ton of weaknesses per se. I do think they have some places you can exploit. The Packers can't get behind early. They're not really built to, light it up offensively. They like to run the ball, stay in contests, keep it close. So if they get behind on a fluke play or two, it's be a long afternoon. But if they can hang in there, they've already beaten this Lions team once this year. So they feel confidence coming from that. And they think their offense is maybe ironing out some of the bumps that we've talked about here with you guys and the inconsistency in the middle part of the season.
Tim, let's get a score prediction from you.
You just like that? You're setting me up like that? I will give you 27-20 Lions.
That's not what I was expecting. Yeah.
Well, they're tough to beat twice. They're tough to beat twice, guys, in a season. They've already beaten them once. So I say it's a good game. Obviously a one-score game could go other way, but I think the Lions get it and just jumbles that whole NFC North up a little bit more for everybody's enjoyment.
Wow. All right. Tim Van Voren, we really appreciate it. On the drive to Motown. Amazing, Tim. We appreciate it.
Awesome, guys. Good being out with you.
Thanks. Listen, we talk about the NFC play. Nobody wants to talk about Grace and I's 49ers. Nobody wants to talk about those 49ers. They just win ugly. Grace, come on now. Come on, Grace. They just win ugly. Come on, Grace. Come on, Grace.
Oh, Grace is speechless.
She's speechless about her 49ers.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we got you now. Yes.
We live in Minnesota. I only talk to we never talk 49ers. You're right. We never talk 49ers.
It's good. It's better that way.
It's okay. We're all okay with that.
And I really don't have anything to say at this point about the 49ers. We'll just, I don't even know.
I'm a Niners hater.
Mr. Henry is a big Niners fan. So,
I see.
Massive Niners fan. So that was my preseason Super Bowl pick.
It was.
They're probably going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, they're for sure going to be in the playoffs. It's going to
Wait,
come down to them. Seattle is.
Why was Adam? Why was your Super Bowl prediction? Is it still your prediction?
Yeah, of course it is.
Sorry,
it still is. I'm not rolling. I'm not diverting. No, I'm rolling with the Niners. This is my squad right now.
Mine's looking a little shaky. Ravens. I don't even know if they're in the playoff picture right now. If it started today, I think I did Ravens Lions.
I
think I did Ravens.
That's a solid. Neither one of them are in the play, but it's as Tim said, it's still very early.
And tomorrow will be a huge deciding factor in the Lions' playoff fate.
Yes, and listen, I know it's just you just think it's another game. It's different on Thanksgiving. It really is. It is different.
Everybody's watching. Yes. Everybody's watching. This is for a lot of these teams. This is their first time that casual fans are getting to watch their games.
Yes,
and they know it's just a storied tradition in the NFL. Everybody's gathered around the TV.
Yes.
They not only want to put on a good show for America, but also take home a W. Because, like I was saying, it's not only important for the Packers and the Lions. The Chiefs and the Cowboys both playing for their playoff futures, their playoff lives. The Bengals are pretty much out of it, but the Ravens are certainly playing for their playoff lives as well. So a lot at stake tomorrow in those three beautiful games.
And Eminem is producing the halftime show tomorrow for the Packers Lions. I'm not sure who's performing.
Yeah, what does that mean?
I think, but
he's gonna make some beats.
He's got his fingerprints over everything. Yes.
Of course. I mean, he runs Detroit.
He does run Detroit. So that's gonna be a lot of fun tomorrow. I'll be in Detroit. I won't be too far. I'm not going to the game. I don't like the Lions. I don't
really.
I know you're indifferent towards the Lions fans. Listen, everybody from Grosse Pointe South High School, nobody was talking about the Lions when we were in high school. And everyone, I've been a fan since '93. It's like, no, you haven't.
You're lying.
No, you haven't.
Phony.
You were not a fan.
Frauds.
You were not a fan. A lot of little bandwagon Lions fans. No bandwagon Vikings fans because you're on the ship.
Yeah.
There's never been a time like you're here. You're on the ship.
There's nothing to bandwagon.
There's nothing to bandwagon with.
We haven't won any Super. I remember earlier in the year. Well, actually, when I was doing my Europe hits on this very show, and I posted a clip from it, and someone on Twitter was like, just because you're Titans, the Titans you grew up loving are terrible, you're going to jump on the Vikings bandwagon? Huh? Yes, I'm going to jump on the notoriously happy Vikings bandwagon. What? This is not a life you choose. This is a life that chooses you. Why would I choose this? Why would I choose this pain? It's a part of me. It's a part of me. I grew up here. It's a part of me. Whether they were my favorite team or not, I've been watching this team since I was a child.
Yes.
You don't choose this pain.
Yes.
It's just you're born into it.
Yes, and you get 9. That's what you get if you're. We're going to talk about
English and German.
Yes. We're going to talk about 9 and Brosmer and all of that later. But first, we're going to go to commercial. We're going to come back. We're going to do some fresh tomatoes first.
Let's do it. Yeah, and it's not me leading it. It's Grace Henry leading the charge as well. I got a little something that I was sprinkling as well, but Grace Henry is leading the charge, giving a fresh tomatoes review to one Phantom of the Opera.
Amazing.
We've been a little bit musical.
Yes.
You know, we've been embracing our inner thespian lately. We had Paul talking about, he talked about the Prince musical.
Yes.
It was Grace talking about the Prince musical, right?
Yeah, Grace did,
It was Grace talking about
Yes.
the Prince musical.
Yes.
Paul was talking about, Wicked.
Wicked, yes.
You're talking about the
Sound
sound
of
of music.
music,
So
yes.
we're not only musical, but we're thespians here on the afternoon shift. And we're going to talk about that and much more coming up in the second hour right after this.
Back here on the afternoon shift. It is now 4:01. We're in our second hour.
We're in our second hour, one step closer to the holiday break, the Thanksgiving break, the Black Friday break. Everybody enjoying some good food, good deals, and hopefully some good football as well.
That's right, and maybe some good musicals too, some good movies, and I think Grace wanted to talk about the Phantom of the Opera. Yeah, Grace?
Yeah, hi guys. I mentioned to you guys last week that I was seeing Phantom of the Opera, and I know we all have been contributing to Fresh Tomatoes. So graciously, Max has let us, kind of take over a segment in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, I thought I might as well talk about Phantom of the Opera for a little bit today.
No, Grace, I've never seen. Obviously, it's kind of everywhere. We grew up.
Yeah.
I know it's historic. It's one of the most, I would say, probably famous musicals and theater productions of all time. And I always thought the Phantom looked cool. I liked the imagery and everything. But I'm gonna be real. I don't know anything, not one single thing about the plot of the Phantom of the Opera. So if someone out there is like me, what is the plot of the Phantom of the Opera?
It's an interesting plot. I mean, I think I took my boyfriend Ian last night, and he was like, I feel like I can just guess what it's going to be about. And he pretty much did just guess what it's about. So, it's about this Phantom, this ghost of the Paris Opera House that, you know, causes all of these mysterious things to happen. But he kind of gains this affinity for a woman named Christine. So Christine is in the chorus. She's just a dancer, but he appears to her and teaches her how to sing. And he, in the midst of all of that, falls in love with her. So it kind of reaches this climax when the prima donna, the head of the opera, the woman, she decides to leave and Christine takes over. And, you know, he's really happy that she's getting her moment and basically is like teaching her more about, like, kind of forcing her to sing and influencing her. And she doesn't really know if it's an apparition or if he's an angel. Like, she doesn't realize that he's a real human being. Yeah, it's very, like that whole, so the theme that I'm sure most of you have heard, like the Phantom of the Opera theme, is her kind of meeting him and being taken down to his lair of sorts. But basically after that, it's this whole conflict. Like, the prima donna comes back and wants to perform in the opera. And he's like, if the prima donna performs, I'm going to do some terrible things in this opera house. And that's the premise of it, is he's in love with her, is she in love with him? You don't really know. And, you know, the drama of the opera house, who's going to be the prima donna? Yeah, it's relatively easy to understand, and it is all done in, opera singing, but it's in English, so you can understand it, because traditional operas usually are not in English. So it's a really cool story, and it is just, I feel like, the quintessential musical. Like, if you want to kind of get into theater, this is probably a good place for you to start.
Is this a movie now, or is this a live play that you were? What's the deal here?
I saw it on the stage, but there is a movie. I believe her name's pronounced Emmy Rossum. She was in Shameless. She actually plays Christine in the movie. I have not seen it. I've heard people either love it or you kind of hate it. So I'm always for musicals being made into movies because it is so expensive to go see a show. So I'm always for it. You know, like, let's kind of tear down barriers to entry so that people can see musicals and be exposed to different stories in that way. But I have not personally seen the movie, but last night I saw the musical version.
And how was that? I'm sure there's been hundreds, if not thousands, of different iterations of the Phantom of the Opera. Where did you see it, and how did you feel about it?
I saw it at the Orpheum Theater. So right now, I don't remember how long it's playing, but I believe it's playing at least through the week at the Orpheum Theater downtown in Minneapolis, across the street from where Prince was, or Purple Rain, excuse me. It was phenomenal. I mean, the stage production is amazing. I was just sitting there thinking, like, how do they transport this set from city to city? Because it really is just extremely grand, a lot of moving pieces, like parts of, you look at, they make the Orpheum look like the Paris Opera House. So it's really, really interesting the way that they do it. So the set itself is amazing. The performers are really great. I do have to say, most of them don't come from theater backgrounds. They come from opera backgrounds, because you need to have that opera voice, because they want, part of Andrew Lloyd Webber, who is the composer of the musical, he really wanted to make sure that you felt like you were seeing an opera in some way, shape, or form, which is not an opera, it was a Broadway show, but the performers were all amazing. Christine, she came from a strictly opera background, but then the Phantom, he'd done some national tours before. I think he'd been in The Lion King, and he was actually in the Hollywood Bowl performance of The Lion King with Northwest. I don't know if you guys heard about that, but Northwest was performed in Lion King. So he performed with Northwest in the Hollywood Bowl, but he was phenomenal.
Yeah, I think in one of the, we were talking about it, we were discussing, is the Phantom of the Opera, is this the most famous musical of all time? And there's some other heavy hitters out there, but it's probably got to be up there,
It's got to be up there, I would say. Like Les Mis, obvious Phantom of the Opera. What else would you say is up there, Grace?
I mean, I think Phantom definitely is probably, over time, the most famous musical. It had, I mean, millions of people saw it on Broadway. It had one of the longest runs on Broadway, if not the longest. But I feel like for each generation kind of has their Broadway show that kind of took over. For, you know, back in the 80s, it was Phantom, but then in the early 2000s, it was Wicked. and for us in the 2010s, it was Hamilton. So there's always that
Max's favorite.
musical that kind of stands out. I know. But Phantom of the Opera, it's kind of that timeless story that'll go on and on and on and on. And like I said, it has everything. It has the sets, it has the performances, the costumes. But yeah, Les Mis is another one that's one of these just grand productions where people, even if you don't know the story, you've heard the music. And I feel like that's the same for Phantom of the Opera, for Wicked even. I mean, everyone knows, even if you don't know the story of Wicked, you've probably heard Cynthia Erivo do the thing. So
Cats, that's another huge one.
Cats
It's been
is
on
big.
Broadway forever.
Cats is a big
Literally
one for
forever.
sure.
But Hamilton, I mean, this is real with you. You really don't like
It's not-
Hamilton.
yeah, I really don't like it. I hate it, in fact. I think it's one of the worst pieces of fiction that's ever been made, ever.
Lin-Manuel Miranda's regarded as a genius.
That's okay. Hey, some people are geniuses at something,
Yeah.
and genius is a subjective term. There's no
It is.
objective way
It
to
is. It is.
determine
Yeah.
someone is a genius.
I
you
will
know.
say I do think Andrew Lloyd Webber, the composer of this musical, is a genius. Phantom of the
Yeah.
Opera. He did Cats, so you brought up Cats, Adam. He also did Cats. He did Jesus Christ Superstar. He's done
that was a
Joseph
big
and the
one.
Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and then he also did Sunset Boulevard. So he just has hit after hit after hit after hit. So he is like, I think objectively he is a genius. Just being able to, hear a musical in your head, that's absolutely unbelievable. But yeah, I don't know. I would say, I mean, you can call Hamilton the Phantom of the 2010s, or you can call Phantom the Hamilton of the 80s. But again, very different. You're going to see very different shows, or two very different shows. Max, hopefully you would like Phantom. I do think you would probably enjoy Phantom. It's a very different story. Yeah.
As long as there's not rapping presidents,
Right.
None of that.
Rapping
Opera
presidents.
singing ghosts. Opera singing ghosts. That's what you get with Phantom.
I'm curious, Grace. You mentioned how they turned the Orpheum into like the Paris Opera House. Was there any parts of it? Because you kind of mentioned that like the Prince musical, that it kind of bothered you a little bit, that they modernized it a little bit. Now, obviously, Phantom of the Opera didn't come out anytime recently. Did they add any kind of modern elements to it, or did they keep it relatively the story relatively unchanged?
I did not see it back when it first opened on Broadway, but I know that this was a revival, and I think there was some things added. So in order to kind of make you feel like you're in the opera house and that the Phantom is haunting the opera house, they have speakers all throughout the theater where like the Phantom will, like, it sounds like the Phantom's right behind you, or it sounds like the Phantom's over there. That was really cool. I had no problem with that. It felt like a very natural thing. But besides that, I mean, the things that they added on were relics of the time. Like it looked like it came out of the opera house. So it wasn't necessarily like a weird modernization thing. If anything, it just kind of added the backdrop. Some of it seemed like digital, like the way that they did it to make it look bigger, which I never really like that, but it made sense. It made sense to try to make it look like you were in the opera house.
That's a heavy hitters right across the street from each other. You got Phantom of the Opera and Purple Rain, literally right across the street. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, both bringing out their A game, certainly. Grace, what would you say is your kind of final summation of it? How much of an afro, would you give it here? It sounded like you liked it a lot.
I would give it a full afro. I definitely
Wow.
would. Yeah, it's a timeless tale. It's classic. It's grand. I think most people would probably enjoy it. So, and it's great. I highly recommend it for anyone watching. And you can still see it at the Orpheum at least through the end of the week. So.
Till December 7th.
Oh, so
Through
wait.
December 7th.
A full fro for it. That's it's high praise.
That is high praise right there.
Very high
Two
praise.
2.5 hours with a 15-minute intermission. I'm seeing some pictures of the production right here, and it looks just absolutely insane. So props to the people at the Orpheum. Go on out and see the Phantom.
When was the last time you saw a musical inside a theater?
I didn't see. It wasn't a musical, but I did see a Golden Girls play.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, close to when we first started this show.
That's
I
right.
saw a play that was kind of viewed as like a modern day extension. If there was an episode of The Golden Girls in 2025, what would it be like? And it was absolutely incredible. One of my favorite things that I've ever seen. I thought it was a musical going into it, actually, but I just apparently just added that sentence in my mind. It is not a musical whatsoever. I don't know if it counts as a musical, but I saw there was musical elements to it. I saw Sailor Moon. The famous, one of the most famous anime of all time, one of the most famous manga, Japanese comic books of all time, basically started the anime craze around the world along with Dragon Ball Z, and they brought a traveling kind of dance action actor group with that they had music from the anime, they had different scenes, they had fight scenes, they had lights. It was kind of like, it reminded me of what Grace was saying. They had different digital things in the background to kind of enhance it but didn't take away from it. So it was incredible. So that was probably the last musical-ish thing that I saw.
Yeah.
But that's...
I kind of thought all theater was kind of musical in a way, but I guess it's not. I guess it's not.
Not all of it. Not all of it, but a lot of it. There's always musical elements.
You're right.
I feel like, but not all of it, I guess. Yeah.
Can you just break out in song whenever you want to?
No. That seems to what happened in musicals. People just are like standing there, like having a dinner at the Mall of America, and then some guy just and then everybody in the mall all knows the same dances together and stuff. That's what happened in high school music. Yeah. Right. It's like, remember those flash dances that were
right. I
for a while when people were doing that? Let's bring back
thing.
that. Life was simpler when we were doing flash dances.
Maybe that's what we need for the Instagram.
I think
we
so.
Get a Fox 9
a Fox 9 flash dance.
Flash dance.
That would be amazing.
We on Purvis. Flash Mob.
Yeah, Flash Mob.
We on Purvis is front and center.
He's gonna be leading the whole thing.
Front and center.
He's got to lead the charge.
Yes.
We'd be doing a disservice to the audience if Leon was not leading the charge.
Yes.
He's always dancing. I just saw him dancing on his Instagram today.
I got to check that one out. This is Thanksgiving weekend. It's a lot of people going to the movies.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there a movie that's on your radar here for this?
There's tons of movies that are, and this is like we've talked about before. This is like prime kind of Oscar-y movies time right now. I did go see a movie over the weekend. I saw The Running Man, starring Glenn Powell of Top Gun fame, Anyone But You fame. He was recently also Chad Powers. If you guys remember that old Eli Manning skit where he kind of dresses up and pretends to audition, try out for his college team. I think,
remember that.
Yes, high school team. I think it was his college team. And then the coaches didn't know what it was because he had all the prosthetics on. Well, they turned that into an entire full-fledged show, and Glenn Powell was the lead of that show. He's kind of become a full-fledged movie star. I mean, Top Gun really putting him on the map. Anyone But You. He had the rom-com game covered. He was in Twisters, the sequel, pseudo-sequel kind of to the original Twister movie. And so he's been all over the place in all different kinds of genres. But I feel like this is his first time starring in in a straightforward action kind of vehicle. It was directed by the guy that made Hot Fuzz. He made Scott Pilgrim versus the World, Baby Driver. I mean, these are some pretty big time movies over the years. Edgar Wright, and this is his first time in a while, kind of just doing like a straightforward kind of action movie. And that's really, it was just kind of by the book, straightforward action movie adaptation of a Stephen King novel, which this year is just the year of adaptations of Stephen King novels. I mean, you had The Long Walk just a little bit ago. They have yet another kind of iteration of the It world with Pennywise and whatnot that just came out. The Life of Chuck movie that came out earlier. I mean, literally, this is the year of Stephen King.
Yeah,
it's like I don't know if there's any books that he's written that have not reached the big screen yet, but The Running Man was one of them. Originally, I think he wrote it back in the 80s. Originally set to take place in 2025.
Oh,
when it was still the far-flung future.
Wow.
Now we're in 2025, and that was kind of one of my gripes with the movie. Is it felt timely? It didn't. I was in a vague kind of undetermined future. That's okay. We don't really know if it's actual 2025 or what year. They kind of went out of their way to not say specifically that this was set in 2025, but it felt a little too timely. And maybe that was some of the themes in the book. Maybe that's it's not anybody's fault. You know, it's just the way the world is right now. But sometimes you go to the movies for the escapism, right? You don't want to see too many things that remind you of the world.
Yes.
And some movies, you go into it with that in mind. You know the synopsis of the movie, and you're like, okay, I'm going to get hit with emotions here. This is going to be time. I went in there to see a movie that I'm going to turn my brain off, an action movie, turn my brain off for a couple of hours, not think about the real world. So it was a little too timely. It wasn't preachy or anything like that. I appreciate the message. It's kind of just like it's a timely message. It's about a guy. Let me take a step back. Synopsis of the movie first. Glenn Powell. He's a guy down on his luck.
Yep.
He's got a family. He's got a daughter that's sick. They're trying to make some money. You know, it's kind of a world of haves and have-nots. Again, feels a little too realistic, but it's very stark contrast between the haves and the have-nots. And there's all these different reality shows, right, that are extreme versions of reality shows that we kind of see today. One of those is the aforementioned, the titular Running Man show, which is essentially if you're the contestant, all you have to do is survive for X amount of time without getting killed. But there's people out there, there's this whole hit squad of assassins that are assigned to kill you. And pretty much anybody in the public, if they snitch on you or give information to snitch on you or capture you themselves, also get some money. But if you survive, you get $1 billion.
Oh.
So all you got to do is survive.
All you got to do, yeah.
But nobody's ever survived. So he kind of sees a commercial early on in the movie, and he's like, this people that do this are crazy. I would never do that. And of course, right away, obviously, this is the name of the movie. He's gonna be in. Yes. He's gonna be in the game, and it kind of just develops from there. He obviously, along the way, he acquires some people that want to be a part of his team to help him try to win the game and whatnot. And it kind of just goes from there. So it's dystopian, but not quite like a far-flung future dystopian. Dystopian that feels like we're not that far away from Running Man-esque shows right now with all the struggles and just kind of lack of empathy that people are having right now. So it definitely did kind of remind me of the times. And again, the action is pretty straightforward. It's not like, speaking of of Top Gun, it's not like you're going to see anything with some high-defying stunts that are like, whoa, going to blow your mind, that you're going to write home about something you've never seen before. But it's fun. It's enjoyable action, and there's enough twists along the way. Some good performances. Listen, a lot of people, I've said it before, a lot of people are good at acting, especially right now. We got a lot of great actors. Not everybody's a movie star.
That is true.
Glenn Powell's a movie star.
Yeah, okay.
He's very good at being a celebrity. He's very good at bringing that presence, and I think he's right on the cusp of being, to me, a movie star is someone, regardless of what the movie they're in, you hear that they're in a movie that's coming to movie theaters, I'm going to go see that movie. That's what Denzel Washington is. Half the people that go see Denzel, they don't even know. And they just say, hey, that new Denzel movie's out.
Yes.
They don't even know the title.
Yes.
They just go, hey, I seen Denzel. That new Denzel movie's out, so I'm going to go see it. I trust him inherently because he's Denzel Washington. I think Timothée Chalamet is at that level right now because of Dune and because of all these other movies that he's been in. He's got this Marty Supreme movie that's coming out that's getting a lot of Oscar buzz. I think he's at that level right now, and Glenn Powell is right on the cusp of that. I think maybe they thought Running Man might be the breakthrough. I don't think it's quite there, judging by the box office. It's kind of had a ho-hum box office so far, and it's not an exceptional movie, but it's a good movie. It's not a movie that's going to offend anybody or anything like that. It's a good movie, good action, and there's enough little twists along the way that you don't see coming that I think it's still an enjoyable movie. But overall, not super unoriginal. And it's unfortunate because Edgar Wright is a great director, right? And it's hard not to grade him in the context of all the past great movies that he's made. But things don't happen in a vacuum, so you do kind of have to consider that. So with that in consideration, I got to get a half row. I'm giving it a half row. We just only go from 1 to 4 on here. I didn't think it necessarily earned 75%. It was a pretty damn good movie, but nothing too creative, nothing too original. But listen, Glenn Powell is great, and I always like to see Michael Cera as well. I feel like I haven't seen Michael Cera in a movie in forever, so shout out to Michael Cera.
We go from a full fro with the Phantom of the Opera to the half fro with Running Man.
And that's okay. Hey, listen, it's still an enjoyable movie. It wasn't a 1. It was not a 1. I have not ventured out there to see Wicked yet, but I know that's coming out. They got the new Knives Out movie that's coming out. It's doing crazy numbers already. Zootopia 2, first big kids movie. I heard it's supposed to. They're predicting it might open with a $500 million opening weekend.
Oh,
$500 million.
Goodness.
Listen, I'm not crunching all the numbers for all the box. I would imagine that's going to be top
$500 million.
Yeah, that's going to be probably the biggest opening of the year, if not top 3, top 2 biggest openings of the year. So Zootopia, absolute huge deal, as well as Hamnet, a movie that's also getting a lot of Oscar buzz about William Shakespeare and kind of his life, his family life, not necessarily even about his life on the stage or his prosaic prowess. It's more about his family life that we don't know a whole lot about. So that's getting a lot of Oscar buzz as well. All these movies and more coming out real soon, and I'm sure I'll see them all, and I'll be right here at this desk to tell you about them.
There it is. That'll be the next edition of Fresh Tomatoes.
Yes,
one of
sir.
his new movies.
I'm sure I'll be at the movies sometime this weekend, if not more than once.
Yes. It's just one of the other Thanksgiving traditions that so many people have.
For sure.
Football, movies, food. It all kind of goes together.
Absolutely.
So yes. We're gonna make basketball part of the Thanksgiving tradition tonight because
why
the
not?
Timberwolves have. You could argue the biggest game of the NBA regular season so far for any team.
For sure.
Timberwolves at Thunder tonight, a Western Conference Finals rematch. That's tonight at 6:30. We'll talk about that game. And plus, we'll talk about this new news with the Vikings with J.J. McCarthy. There's a lot of rumors out there about him playing or not playing this weekend, which could mean some history for the Minnesota football program.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of exciting stuff swirling around the Minnesota Vikings, which we weren't saying just 2 days ago. We weren't saying we were basically saying there's nothing exciting happening, but this is some exciting stuff. And even though the season's a wash, there's some exciting stuff happening with the Minnesota Vikings, and of course a huge matchup for the Timberwolves tonight. We're going to get into all of that and a little bit more coming up next on the afternoon shift.
Welcome back to the afternoon shift. We've been hyping up the Lions-Packers game tomorrow at noon on Fox 9. You got to wait for the Vikings until Sunday at 3 o'clock. The Vikings are traveling to Seattle, playing their old quarterback, Sam Darnold, and the Seattle Seahawks. The Vikings going into that game as 11.5-point underdogs. And a lot of rumors right now with who's going to be the quarterback. A senior NFL insider for The Athletic, Diana Rossini, reports that she was told JJ is not going to play. That's her.
Right.
The team hasn't said that yet.
Yeah.
So if Brosmer's in there, I mean, the bar is essentially 0 for Brosmer.
Basically, the bar is kind of like -5. It's about as low can be. All Max Brosmer really has to do is go in there and just look competent. And maybe we have some type of quarterback competition situation going on at the very least, if not maybe a future starter in this league. And this is a huge opportunity for Max Brosmer, not just for himself, for the Gophers program, as you said. I know a lot of us have extra vested interest in Max Brosmer's development because of that last year of his college career that he spent with the Minnesota Golden Gophers. They've never, I mean, this is what, the second time ever that a Gophers quarterback has ever started in an NFL game. It's super exciting, man.
First since 1987, Mike Hohensee started 2 games for the Bears in 1987.
It's super exciting stuff. And listen, we don't have a whole lot to look forward to with the playoffs kind of out of the picture there. It's a little bit in the rearview mirror right now for the Minnesota Vikings in a super contentious NFC. It doesn't look like that is in the near future. But this is something to get excited about, to see maybe there's a reason for us to have smiles on our faces and want to be glued to the TV for the rest of the season, because we get to watch Max Brosmer's possible development. But that all starts on Sunday. And listen, we don't know. He's an undrafted free agent. We've never seen him. We've only seen him take a handful of snaps in the NFL. I think he did in one of those games that Carson Wentz started. Only a handful of snaps so far in his professional career, but he looked great with the Gophers. We all saw he kind of added a whole different dynamic to that Gophers offense that we hadn't seen in years. Just the Gophers are not used to having a pass attack like they had with Max Brosmer, and it was absolutely a blast to watch. I'm hoping that he brings some of that to the Minnesota Vikings as well, because obviously quarterback play has been a bit of a struggle between Carson Wentz and J.J. McCarthy this season. It has not been the most fun position to watch on the Minnesota Vikings. So, I'm super excited about it, and I'm sure the team is excited about it as well.
Let's just talk hypotheticals here. The Vikings, like I said, they're 11.5-point underdogs. Let's say the Vikings lose by 7 points. Okay, they lose, but Brosmer throws for a touchdown and throws for 200 yards, and Justin Jefferson catches that touchdown and gets 80 yards, and maybe he even throws a pick as well. That's a very just average line. What happens next week? They're at home against the Commanders in front of the home fans. At that point, they'll have lost, what, 4 straight games? What do you do if you're Kevin O'Connell in that situation? That's a really tough spot. I think the mature answer is probably to play J.J. McCarthy, and I get that. But, if the Vikings beat the Seahawks, I just don't – I don't see how you could go back to JJ at home. I don't know.
If the Vikings win, I do think that you unequivocally you have to go with Max Brosmer.
Yeah.
Obviously, fans from our point of view, a lot of fans are saying, well, the Vikings just lose the rest of their games and get a number 1 draft pick. Kevin O'Connell's not thinking of that way. Thinking that way. Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah's not thinking that way. They have an obligation to the owners, to the players, to the fans to try to win as many games as possible. Now, if Max Brosmer goes out there and just lights it up, I mean, even you said just an average stat, but if he goes out there and lights it up and say the Vikings still lose, but they went down guns blazing, I still think you have to have a serious consideration about what you want to do. And how confident are you of JJ's resilience? How confident are you in JJ's growth? And I think we'll determine how confident this organization is by their decision. And maybe Max Brosmer makes it easy. Maybe he doesn't do so well as well, and then it's just like, okay, well, we invested a lot more in JJ. They didn't invest almost anything in Max Brosmer. He's an undrafted free agent. It's not costing them all that much money in the grand scheme of things. So it's just kind of like, hey, and they'll probably have him around on the roster next year regardless. So it's kind of, there's more urgency in seeing what you got with JJ McCarthy. So I say, if Max Brosmer doesn't light it up, if he doesn't win the game, you probably still do have to go back to J.J. McCarthy if you're Kevin O'Connell. But I know a lot of fans are going to be calling for Max Brosmer either way. So it all depends on how the game shakes out. But I think if Max Brosmer looks competent, let alone if the Vikings win, you at least have to take it into consideration for sure.
I'm going to be a little bit of a J.J. apologist here. I feel bad for him. He was put into a really, really, really difficult spot. And you could say, no, he wasn't. He's got all these world-class wide receivers and all around him and a world-class coach, and all of that's true. But the team let Sam Darnold walk. They're going to play Sam Darnold this weekend. They let Daniel Jones walk. I was saying, now I'm going to take some credit here. I was saying this summer, I was like, what about Aaron Rodgers? And there are people that laughed at me. They're like, no. But hey, it would have been good now, right? Sure. And when they didn't even entertain him, that puts more pressure on JJ and all of that. It's a lot of pressure on a guy that hadn't taken a snap yet.
And it's already one of the most pressure-filled positions in all of American team sports. Probably the most pressure of any given position in American team sports. And then you couple that with all the quarterback kind of carousel and all the quarterbacks that were in the Viking stratosphere, like you were just talking about. Obviously, a town that's title-starved, that's hungry for a championship. A town that, whether it was reality or not, felt that this team was a quarterback away. So that does add kind kind of to the shorter leash that it seems like people have given him. I know a lot of people are saying, give him some time, but a lot of Vikings fans feel we don't want to wait anymore. We don't want to go through another rebuild. This team was really good last season. They only lost 2 games. So I think a lot of that adds to all the pressure that's on JJ, man. And it's first year, and he's coming off of injury. So there's been all this hype for a year plus of like who this kid is and what he's going to deliver. So yeah, it is a lot of pressure to put on a young man's shoulders. And I think he's still the youngest starting quarterback in the NFL right now. So it's a lot to handle at any age, let alone 22, 23. So he's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders for sure. And so far he hasn't lived up to the expectation, but it is still early in his career, and we'll see if the Vikings feel like they've given him enough time. But I think that all kind of depends on Max Brosmer's development and how he plays on Sunday.
Absolutely. You can watch that game on Sunday right here on Fox 9, beginning at 3 o'clock, Vikings at Seahawks. Let's talk about 6:30 tonight. Yeah. That's the Timberwolves going at the Thunder. The Thunder 17-1, only lost 1 game. The Timberwolves 10-7, still 0 wins over teams over 500. Tonight is an opportunity to get that win. A little bit of a point spread there. It's a 9.5 point spread. The Timberwolves are underdogs there. How do you see this one shaking out?
Man, yeah, it's tough to get a read on this Timberwolves team. They look like one of the best teams in the NBA when they're playing sub 500 teams outside of that game against Sacramento just a few days ago, and they look like they mostly can't hang with the big dogs. And then this is the biggest of dogs. This is a Great Dane when it comes to the big dogs. They've won 9 in a row. They've only lost 1 game all season, and that was just kind of one of those games where they're not taking a Portland Trailblazers team, a rebuilding Portland Trailblazers team seriously, took their foot off the gas. They learned their lesson from there because they've won 9 in a row. They're undefeated at home, 8-0. And that's already a really hard place to play, man. It's packed every single night. The Thunder they're the biggest show in town. I know the Sooners are doing pretty damn well as well.
Yep.
But I think that's a different part of Oklahoma.
Norman,
yes.
Right.
Yeah. So the Thunder are the only show in town. So that game is going to be packed always. And this has kind of developed into a little bit of a rivalry over the last couple of years. The fans kind of feel like the Timberwolves fans feel a rivalry with the Thunder fans. I think Ant feels a little bit of a rivalry with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. We used to have one of his family members, Nicole Alexander-Walker, so that added a degree of emotion to it as well. Nicole's no longer on the team; he's balling out in Atlanta. We love that for him, but this is going to be a tough matchup.
Chet Holmgren from
Chet Holmgren. But there's all types of interlapping storylines, and of course the belt to butt whooping that the Thunder gave the Minnesota Timberwolves in the Western Conference Finals. So the Timberwolves got to have some motivation. They got to feel that fire under their butts right now. And if they didn't before yesterday, then I think Mike Conley might have spurred that in them because he called a players-only dinner in Oklahoma City last night. Mike Conley, listen, He's the OG of OGs, maybe one of the kindest people that's ever played in the game of basketball, in the National Basketball Association. So if he's saying at this point in the season, listen, we all got to get our heads in the game, we all got to get our minds right, then you got to listen to him. And Mike Conley is very respected in that locker room. So if he's calling that meeting, I think the guys are going to take it pretty seriously there. Obviously, 2 really tough finishes against Sacramento and against Phoenix. They got to clean up the little things. They got to not turn the ball over because the Thunder, they're going to take advantage of all that, man. They're top 3 offense in the league. They're the best defense in the league. They're the deepest team in the league. They're one of the youngest teams in the league. They got everything going for them. Almost every. If you've made a pros cons as well.
Draft capital.
Yes, they're going to be good for a really long time. The Timberwolves just got to want it more because the Thunder have everything on paper going in their favor. The Timberwolves just got to want it more. Anthony Edwards, he's a guy that's motivated by stuff like this. I know he's going to come out strong, and he hasn't been playing the best lately, so I know he's going to want to bounce back. Julius Randle's been playing at an all-star level throughout the season. We've seen the reemergence of Naz Reid after a shaky start, and again, I just always want to preface this. Absolutely, totally understandable why Naz Reid had a shaky start. He's going through a whole lot in his personal life. For him to even be on the court right now just speaks to his resilience and his strength and his bravery. That is just absolutely incredible. And he's reemerged lately, so he's been absolutely incredible. So, and they're going to need it all, man. They're going to need Rudy to get involved, which is something that's one of the reasons that they lost to the Thunder in the playoffs last year. Is Rudy not getting involved more? I'm sure they had all summer to think about this matchup, what went wrong in this matchup, what they need to do better in this matchup, and then tonight they're going to try to prove it.
I'm glad that you're optimistic about the players only meeting because those usually don't.
They're not. That's not a
usually
good
not a good
sign.
thing.
Less
Not a
than
good
20 games
usually
into
not
the
a good
season,
thing.
it's not a good sign. But it's
You've never heard of an NFL team have a players only meeting than them winning. On
No,
Sunday.
that doesn't
It
usually happen. That's not
way.
usually part of the 30 for 30.
No.
But especially 20 games into the season.
Yes.
But it's understandable.
It's a
after
dinner.
Those.
It's a
dinner.
dinner.
It wasn't like
probably got
like a
nice-
closed door meeting. I feel like it had a different. And it's Mike Conley. I'm sure it had a different kind of tenor. You know,
Probably got some nice
a more
steaks.
friendly
Yes.
kind of tenor than those closed door meetings where people are yelling at each other and telling them to
Yeah.
get accountable. I'm sure Mike Conley just said, "Hey guys, lock in. We gotta get our minds right because the Timberwolves on paper they can compete with anybody. They just gotta get it between the ears, clean up some of the small things, and I think they'll be right there with the Oklahoma City Thunder tonight. But it's gonna be tough.
It'll be a fun game, and it's not a super late start either. It's 6:30,
Yeah.
so you can watch that. It's a little Thanksgiving appetizer as you're out. The biggest bar night of the year tonight. So
Yeah.
this game will be all over TVs, all over
the Twin Cities, and I think there's a bunch of different rivalry matchups. I think it's kind of NBA's kind of building it as like a rivalry type night.
Oh.
I think the Houston Rockets are playing against the Golden State Warriors.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe the Knicks are in action. Somebody's in action as well tonight. But it's kind of a whole rivalry slate. So a nice, good slate of basketball before we get a nice, good slate of football and food tomorrow.
That's right. That we'll be looking forward. Timberwolves Thunder tonight at 6:30. Speaking of Thanksgiving, we're going to talk to Sandra Eskin, the CEO of Stop Foodborne Illness, all about Thanksgiving meal prep coming up after the commercial.
Yeah,
break.
absolutely. Because there's all different types of things going on in the kitchen. We want to make sure that we're all safe and nobody's getting sick on their days off. So all of that and more coming up next on the afternoon shift.
Afternoon shift. We're less than 24 hours away from Thanksgiving dinner, Max.
Yes, sir. I'm just counting down the hours. But it's going to feel a lot. Thanksgiving's going to feel a lot longer. It always flies by, but it's going to feel a lot longer if you get a little sick,
That is true. You want to stay safe in the kitchen, no cross-contamination. And the expert on all things staying safe for Thanksgiving is Sandra Eskin, the CEO of Stop Foodborne Illness. We talked to her yesterday, and we're going to replay that clip again right now. Thanksgiving is the CEO of Stop Foodborne Illness, Miss Sandra Eskin. Sandra, welcome back to the afternoon shift. How are you?
Thank you. I'm well. How are you guys?
We're great. We're going to be even better 2 days from now when we can get into the kitchen, but we want to make sure we could do it safe. Sandra, what are some common problems people run into cooking on Thanksgiving Day?
That's a great question. You have to follow this sort of 4 safe food handling practice every day. And on Thanksgiving, the advice is on steroids because you're cooking for a lot of people. Chances are they're very young and very old. So they are. Number 1, clean. Wash your hands, and then wash your hands. Number 2, separate. Don't prep your turkey on a cutting board that you're then using to cut vegetables, raw vegetables for your salad. Number 3, which people mostly get wrong on Thanksgiving, cook thoroughly. Use a meat thermometer. Make sure that you stick it in the thickest part of the turkey after you think it's ready, and make sure that the thermometer says 165 degrees. You can't tell if it's done by looking at it, by smelling it, by touching it. You need to use a thermometer. And then, of course, we all know that we make way too much food for Thanksgiving dinner, and we get to enjoy the feast days after. However, be mindful how you put your leftovers in the fridge. Shallow pans means they're going to cool quicker. You want that to happen. They're probably safe in there for 3 to 4 days, as long as they're well packaged and the fridge is cold. The only exception to the 3 to 4 day rule are, and don't eat them together, gravy and whipped cream, because they go bad more quickly.
Say it's someone's first time in the kitchen, or maybe they're just unsure of their cooking skills. What are some common foods that we eat on Thanksgiving that maybe someone should avoid if they're worried about like illness or whether they can prepare it or not?
That's a great question. So there are some foods that are more often associated with foodborne illness than aren't. Chances are, hopefully, they're not on your Thanksgiving table menu. So one, I want to reiterate, raw milk or cheese and other dairy products made from raw milk. Raw milk means it's not pasteurized. Pasteurized means it's been heated to a point where it kills any germs. So if you're going to serve milk, make sure it's pasteurized. I'd be wary of certain sprouts like alfalfa sprouts. They often look lovely in a salad. They are associated with illnesses, so I would be mindful. Excuse me, please. I don't know about you guys, but I'm guessing that some families start with a very elegant appetizer that involves raw oysters. Raw molluscan shellfish is also associated with foodborne illness. So I'd probably go right to the turkey, or if you're me, the pumpkin pie before I would eat that.
And if you're serving raw milk at Thanksgiving dinner, I'm okay on that.
Yeah, you're good.
I'm good on that invite.
Just get, hey, oh, sorry, my mom's calling. I got
raw milk at Thanksgiving. Yeah. You ever had raw milk at Thanksgiving?
I've never had raw milk in any setting.
How about just a beer or a water? Raw milk, that's a lot. You mentioned the raw poultry. There's a ton of issues. What are some? You say that the turkey is safe, but the poultry could get people into trouble too. What are some tips with dealing with raw poultry?
I think the most important thing are, I'm going to point to 2 of the 4 practices that I mentioned at the beginning of our chat here. One is separate. You know, when you're cutting up, you're trimming the turkey and then you're putting it in the oven, you want to make sure that you use a separate knife, a separate cutting board, because if you then turn and use the same utensils on something that's not getting cooked, and if that turkey was contaminated at all, it's going to cross-contaminate the other products. The other thing I cannot emphasize enough is thoroughly cooking your turkey. That will kill any salmonella or other germs. Again, follow good advice as far as proper use of the thermometer. There's a lot all over the internet or at foodsafety.gov. But basically, it's important to put the the end of the thermometer at different points in the turkey, right? Temperature is going to be varied, right? But definitely make sure you hit the thickest part. I want to say one other thing about turkey, and that is stuffing. Stuffing is awesome. It's probably a good idea to cook the stuffing separately from the turkey. I know it's called stuffing for a reason, but if your turkey is not fully cooked, it can cross-contaminate the stuffing and people can get sick. So it's probably advisable, even wasn't the way your mother or your grandmother, for that matter, your father, your grandfather did it. Put it in a nice big glass dish and put it in the oven separately.
Sandra, talking about things that you learned from your mother and your grandmother while you were cooking, I've never had a meat thermometer, but I've always followed the rule, if you puncture it and the fluids run clear, it's safe to eat. Is that not really the case? Is that just an old wives' tale?
Well, I won't say it's an old wives' tale. It is probably a good indication, and if that's all you have, right, you're likely to be safe, but it's not foolproof. You could have other parts of the turkey that if you did in fact puncture it, it wouldn't run clear, or the meat would look. So yes, when we didn't have meat thermometers, we didn't have a lot we could go on, but we do now, and as long as the battery is definitely juiced, it's reliable. And probably more reliable. And they're all different models, Paul, of thermometers. You can get basic thermometers. You can get high-tech thermometers. They range in prices, but they're really an essential kitchen utensil.
All right, sounds like I have to head to the shops tomorrow when the snow's out and everything's out to make sure I can pick up a thermometer. All right, now I'm going to feel bad if I cook and someone gets sick, so I'm going to have to go and buy myself a thermometer.
No. You can also try online. Maybe one of the online retailers will deliver it to you in the snow.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Look at that.
Is it snowing already in Minneapolis?
That's all we've been hearing about
Yeah,
today,
it's
Sandra.
coming.
It's gonna get really snowy tonight.
It's definitely
Okay,
coming. Sandra,
I hope
you
it doesn't-
mentioned it a little bit ago. What is kind of like leftovers 101? Everybody's going to be, unless you just got like a big old family or a lot of hungry kids, everybody's going to be dealing with some degree of leftovers. What's kind of like the 101 of leftovers?
So again, it's important that you let them cool down and you put them in the refrigerator and they're cool. So the key is to use shallow dishes, because then you'll know to store the leftovers, because it'll be quicker for them to cool down. Again, that's true with turkey and stuffing and sweet potatoes and almost everything. They should be good 3 to 4 days after they've been prepared. But if you're in doubt, throw it out. And remember that gravy and whipped cream are 2 essential elements of the Thanksgiving feast, but they can spoil more quickly than on than other leftovers. So again, shallow dishes, get them in the refrigerator 3 to 4 days. No on the turkey. No, I'm sorry. No on the turkey. Gravy, whipped cream, 1 day.
Perfect. Sandra Eskin, the CEO of Stop Foodborne Illness. We appreciate your time, Sandra.
Great, thank you. And you guys have a great Thanksgiving holiday.
That was Sandra Eskin, the CEO of Stop Foodborne Illness, telling us all the do's and don'ts around the kitchen this Thanksgiving.
I feel a lot better now. I don't have to worry about getting anybody sick in the kitchen. But luckily, that's not my duties anyways.
That's right. You and I, we're just sitting on the couch watching
I'm
football.
Just sitting back, put my hands in the air, and just watching the Masters work, a.k.a. my mother.
Perfect. Same with my mom. We're very excited for this Thanksgiving. We're going to wrap up today's show and get to the holiday here coming up next.
Let's do it. I mean, what are we waiting for? Hit the music. Let's get the hell out of here.
the afternoon shift. We're just a few minutes away from the Thanksgiving Day break here on the afternoon shift. We're very excited.
We're very excited. You know, we love spending every day with each and every one of you out there. But of course, everybody looks forward to some time off, some time with the fam, and some good food.
That's right. Yeah, me too. I'm very excited to get home.
Favorite Thanksgiving side or main?
My mom's sweet potato casserole, which got criticized by Sheila Mullins. She said casserole. That's not a Minnesota thing. They don't do casserole in Minnesota, I guess.
I think we do.
Oh yeah, my mom sweet potato casserole, a little bit of Jack Daniels in there, a little bit of some pecans in there. It's just really really nice how it all gets done.
So that's what you're looking forward to.
That's what I'm looking forward to the most.
If you had to cook something for Thanksgiving.
Oh, I'm bad.
Just nothing. Not even the booty butt naked burgers. You wouldn't bring those to the.
No. I'm trying. You know, there's this certain brand of rolls that I really like. They're called Sister Schubert. You pop those in the oven, but that's just take and break. I'm not much of an indoor cook. I'm an outdoor cook. I'm a griller. I'm a griller. Yes. But a lot of people like to fry their turkey outside. So.
Yeah, that's not. I think that's dangerous.
Yeah,
right?
It's a little dangerous. You got to do it the right way.
It's an art. Yeah, there's always those videos which I look forward to tomorrow of people kind of that going. Yeah, AWOL.
Number one day for the fire departments, I'm sure. Thanksgiving, it's got to be up there.
100%. It's got to be.
It's got to be up there.
You know, the day before Black Friday is Black Friday for them.
Yes, that's right. Sure. And the day before Thanksgiving is the number one night for bars all across America.
Yeah.
This is the biggest bar night of the year. That's what they bill it as. Yes.
Yeah. It's going to be packed. Every bar in every city around not only the state but the country is going to be filled with regulars, kids from high school or from college coming home to meet up with their old high school buddies, people that do it every single year.
Right.
You know, youths like Grace Henry. Grace, are you hitting the bars tonight?
I'm not. That honestly sounds like my worst nightmare, like going to a bar and like running into like my high school group. Like, that's just kind of a lot. But, I respect the people that do. I hope everyone has fun and drives safe. I will be drinking on my couch and going to bed at like 9 o'clock tonight. But have fun if you're going out. You guys going out?
I'm doing a high school reunion on Friday.
Oh,
but to your point, Grace, it's you're gonna run into that thing. It's like, hey, and then after 5 minutes, it's like I'm not really trying to
not all that great.
Talk with you,
right? Because we have social media now where we kind of keep up with all the people we wanted to keep up with. People are like, so what have you been up to? It's like, well, I already know.
Right.
I've seen your posts.
Yes.
For the last however long.
Yes. Yeah.
That's funny. Are you gonna flex on people? No. You're not gonna no bullies that you're gonna try to go get some revenge.
There were no bullies, no bullies to me at least in high school.
Okay.
So no, I was on the I wasn't cool, but I was on the basketball team. I didn't play.
Oh.
I was on the end of the bench.
The hype guy.
I was the hype guy.
The hype guy.
I was the hype guy.
It's an important role.
It was an important role. I
role to
scored
play.
2 points senior year.
Look at that.
I made one layup.
Hell
in an actual game.
It's better than zero.
It's better than zero.
It's better than zero.
I'm on the board.
There you go.
Yeah. But the bar night is funny because you will see somebody tonight and they're, hey, Max, it's so great to see you. And it's like, oh, man. It's just like, it's fine
great,
seeing you,
man.
too.
This is so much fun.
Yeah.
Why haven't we seen each other in the last 13 years? Oh, because I
Maybe
don't like you?
Right.
Maybe that's why. Yeah,
there's got to be one person from Eastview that you
Sure,
I'd
be happy to see some people. Sure, there would be some people that I would flex on. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Some people that say I wouldn't be nothing. That's okay. Maybe I'm not. That's a subjective.
The Gopher radio
opinion.
Station.
Yeah, we'd have to take that one out of the bar for sure. That conversation, we'd have to.
I love these rivalries.
Take a walk around the lake or something like that.
Who's a bigger rival for you, the Gopher radio station or Hamilton?
Oh, Hamilton, easily. Hamilton, easily. I will continue my crusade against Hamilton until I draw my last breath.
Yes,
100%. I will not be. That's one thing I will not be watching. I'm going to hit the movies.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch some football, some basketball tonight.
Yeah.
One thing you can guarantee that you can bet the under on is amount of Hamilton watched.
Yes.
0.
Maybe you'll be watching the Fox 9 News at 5 o'clock with Kelsey and Simone today.
I sure as heck will, as I do every single day, because they're the best of the best.
Yeah, they sure are.
And they're getting ready to start here in just a second. So why don't we pass the baton to them and move on out of their way?
That's right. We will. We won't see you all tomorrow, but we'll see you all on Friday. It'll be a very special Black Friday edition of the afternoon shift, and then we'll be back into full forces on Monday, December 1st.
For sure,
Yes.
It's the first of the month, like Bone Thug said. But yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back on Friday with a Black Friday Friday show, all things Black Friday, just kind of the holiday season. We got all types of timely stuff for our Friday episode. But until then, we're going to enjoy Thanksgiving and get the heck up out of here. You should too. I don't know how many hours it'll be until we're back, but just join us on Friday, 3 p.m. In the meantime, the 5 o'clock news is about to start. So I'm Max Fuller.
Adam Llorens.
Signing off for Grace Henry and Paul Millgate. The 5 o'clock news starts right now.
This is Fox 9 News at 5.
And thanks for joining us here on Fox 9 and Fox Local. I'm Kelsey Carlson.
And I'm Simone Bullridge. Here's a look at what's coming up here at 5. Of course, the story we are all talking about. It is the weather. What a night and morning after our first big snow of the season. And Ian says it is going to be a cold holiday, and that feeling will probably be familiar for a while. We are also learning more about the man arrested in that federal operation in St. Paul yesterday that involved protesters and also pepper spray. And as we look into the weekend, will he play or will he not play on Sunday? Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell giving us a glimpse into their week and delivering insight on who he expects to start in Seattle. And we'll see who the quarterback might be. So we'll talk about that later.
Fun stuff to talk about. All right, let's talk about the weather first with chief meteorologist.
Are you sure you want to?
I think we have some good stuff to talk about.
The elephant in the room.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Kelsey.
It wasn't that bad.
For who?
You know what? I'm telling you, if I'm ever on a ship that's about to go down, I want to be there with Kelsey because there's going to be something good about it.
Yeah, that is very true.
Yes. The water's not that cold.
Yes.
You know, before we get into snow totals, I need to say what I always say. These totals may not be indicative of exactly what happened at your particular location over the last 24 hours. Nonetheless, official numbers. Look at Ashland, 9 inches, officially at the airport 3.1. Now, if you're scoring at home, our forecast was 3 to 5 inches across the metro. And we nailed it. Chanhassen at 2.5. Duluth, look at that burst at 10 plus inches. Camp Ripley, McGregor, Cloquet, all at 9 and then some. And everywhere you look to the north, it was some big snow. Ashland at 15 inches. That's that South Shore that we were talking about.